Hello, g'day, and welcome to one and all to Unknown to Untouchable with UD Melilla. This episode is going to be something a little different. Basically, I'm not happy with my first two episodes. It was when I first started. I didn't really know what I was doing. Um, uh, the audio wasn't correct. And so yeah, I just wasn't too happy with it. And I think if anyone is going to start watching this series, I would prefer them to obviously go watch it because it's there in depth, and if you don't mind the bad audio quality and stuff, um, I'd prefer if they were going to potentially keep watching the series than to watch this episode first, because it's just going to give a rundown of those first two episodes really. So the history of Melilla, and the first two games, our first three games that we played. It won't go into any detail about the players because I'll find out who we've signed, what players are doing well once they start from episode 3. Cool? So, let's go back in time. Okay, UD Melilla. Now, firstly, the reason I started this save is because I, over the last few years, I've spent a lot of time on Football Manager, and given I've had some more free time over the last few months, due to uh, external factors, we'll say, I decided to put more energy into playing the game, and use the hours I'm playing the game into something more constructive. So I've started a YouTube series, and started a YouTube channel, a Twitter account, just so I can share my saves, and make him kind of entertaining, creative, and yeah, just more of that really. I do watch, well, for the last maybe 3 or 4 years, I've watched a lot of YouTube content, and Twitch content on Football Manager, and yeah, it's just super entertaining for me because I'm interested in the game, and I've taken a lot of inspiration from some YouTube content creators, and I kind of want to be in a similar mold, really. So that's my sort of starting goal, I guess, to get somewhat near something entertaining, if if that's a goal in any way, but that's what I'm sort of aiming for. Right, so UD Melilla. Why UD Melilla? Well, firstly, the series I come up with is called Unknown to Untouchable. The non-league to sort of rising through the ranks to glory is my favorite type of save to do. I think it's the most entertaining. I think that's the most rewarding, the most enjoyable. And I wanted to do something in a similar fashion, give it a fancy name, Unknown to Untouchable, and here we are. So UD Melilla are a team in the third division of the Spanish league. They are in the Segunda Division Group Uno? Un? What's Spanish for one? I don't know. I should probably learn that. So basically, in the Spanish third division, there's groups. So there's four groups of teams. We're in one of those groups, and we've been in one of those groups since 1996. It looks like. So we've been in this same division for over 20 years. So it was my kind of when I was doing the research for it, it's like, yeah, sounds like a team I can sort of rise from mediocrity. So that's what I'm doing. They are actually one of the most consistent sides in this division. They've never been higher than the second tier of Spanish football, and that was only sort of in the 50s and 60s that they were. So they've been fairly dormant for a long time. So yeah, that's sort of the reasoning behind, some part of the reasoning behind why I want to get them up there, because it's not like a giant that's fallen down with big finances and big players and pull from from their history. This is a team that's basically starting from scratch, almost trying to get them up. another another reason behind my choice is Melilla is this city on the north coast of Africa. So it's this little piece of Spain in Morocco, and stuff like that really piques my interest. Random cities and random areas and geographical um, obscurities or geographical obscurities sort of thing. So that was another reason that I do find that really interesting. So I hope you do too. But yeah, that's second part of my reasoning behind UD Melilla. Third part really was I wanted to add sort of an extra dimension to the save, which you will find out obviously watching the next episodes, but I haven't quite got to that stage yet with finances and stuff. But I want to make Melilla a kind of like the gateway for African footballers to come through into the European League. So I've added the database with basically every player available in Africa, and I want to hopefully build a youth academy and youth system that will bring through Moroccans, North Africans, all African footballers, so they can play into Europe. It's kind of like a gateway, I guess. Being basically the only European team on the continent of Africa, I thought that was a pretty cool dimension to add. And yeah, that's mainly the reasoning behind it. So, where is Melilla? Well, where this little dot is here. So, obviously, it's a part of Spain. It is contested between Morocco and Spain. In no way am I getting into any political debate or anything like that. It's purely football. So, along with sort of like Andorra, Gibraltar, I guess it's kind of, yeah, I mean, a part of Spain or in Spain, connected to Spain in some way. But yeah, and with a lot of other regions in Spain, it's an autonomous territory. So yeah, again, Spain is a really unique country in that regard, which is really interesting. Yeah, so here we are. So if I scroll in, Melilla is this little border here, population of about 80 odd thousand since I last checked. Well, it's not going to be that much more. I only checked a month ago. So as you can see, it's only really small. Quite like I wouldn't say a beachy place, but it's got a marina, sort of that Mediterranean feel with the water, that Mediterranean feel with being on the coast. It's got an airport, fantastic. And our little football stadium is the Estadio Municipal de Fútbol Álvarez Claro. Yes, so in the middle of the city, that's where we play our football. Being only a small city, the catchment area for players is not a lot, it's which is really intriguing. So I'm trying to, force the game to bring players through from surrounding countries, and hopefully I can. So the league we play in, yes, does mean we have to do a lot of traveling. Yeah, quite a lot for a semi-professional club, and it does cost a lot. And again, finances, you'll find out what the go is there as you watch the next episodes. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, looks like there's sort of two ferry routes into mainland Spain. Yeah, and then there's an airport, so it's quite cut off, I guess. Interestingly, there is another Spanish territory in Morocco, North Africa, which is Ceuta. Now, I was tossing up between Ceuta and Melilla. However, Ceuta was in the 4th division, which isn't on the game, and I didn't want to download a database that could be glitchy, so that's why I went for Melilla. But Ceuta's quite interesting as well. They're two territories that part of Spain in North Africa. Now, we have already played Las Palmas this year on the save. So basically, this is the furthest trip ever. Basically, in Spain, you can do from Melilla, you have to fly into Madrid or Valencia or Malaga, Barcelona, so a major hub, and then fly from there down to Las Palmas to play. I mean, quite remarkable, the amount of travel for a semi-professional side to play football. But again, one of those parts that just make it interesting for me, and it builds a story. So yeah, that's the reason. So our honours. So we've only ever won one trophy in our history. If I can find it, I believe we came first. Yeah, we came first in the second division. Third division, but the Segunda. Back in 1998-99 season. So it's the first and only piece of silverware, which is another string to the bow of why I want to manage here. So very, very dormant side, but I think with a bit of potential, definitely being so secluded and being football mad as well. I think it will help. So I'm just bearing in mind I don't want to sort of spoil anything here. I'll run through the results we had in the second episode, and then and show you a couple of key players that have been here the whole time, which I haven't signed. Starting off with our friendlies, I mean, how much do you take from friendlies, really? But we won my first ever game in charge 4-0, which was brilliant. As you can see, just complete wholesale changes. A really good 2-2 draw with Barcelona B. I mean, that was a really, really interesting result. I was getting quite optimistic at that point. Another 2-2 draw with Real Oviedo, who have been in the Premier League. Don't say that. The La Liga before. So another really, really good result in pre-season. One against Europa. They're basically a fourth division side, so that wasn't a great result. But again, a common theme throughout our friendlies is the shots and possession, which I was happy with. We beat the Melilla children's team 8-0. Yeah, again, just domination there. A little morale booster before the season. And lastly, a 4-1 win against Jaén, which was, again, another really good morale boosting win before the season. So our first game, our first match of the season, wasn't shown live. Technical difficulties on my end, basically. So, being the first time I've ever done anything like this, it was quite, I mean, it was easy but difficult at the same time, knowing the rhythm and what to do and getting the settings right. If you've ever done it before, the OBS stuff and all that. So I managed to do that incorrectly for the first game of the season, unfortunately. But yeah, I sorted it out since then, so that's fine. But we started off with a 3-1 loss to Sanse, a team in San Sebastian. Yeah, unlucky really. Yeah, very funny, very hard not to say something that's already happened in the next episodes. But yeah, 3-1 loss, unlucky. We'll move on. 0-0 draw with Langria, our first point in charge. Again, domination. But yeah, couldn't find a breakthrough. Some of the early results, or these two early results, were putting down to sort of lack of managerial support. I am starting as sort of the lowest you can, Sunday League footballer, national C license or whatever. So yeah, the boys didn't quite love me at the first two matches, and then a really decent 2-1 loss to Castilla, so Real Madrid's B team. They're head and shoulders better than us in terms of players, and we put in a really good performance. I'm really looking forward to playing them again. But yeah, just unlucky really, which was a bit of a shame. But could have snatched a result, but we didn't. But yeah, anyway, that was our first two episodes. That's basically the games that we played. And from episode 3, you'll be able to see the rest live and all the catch-ups from there. first off, Diego Paris, right back. Original Melilla player. Got really, really nice stats for a right back. So I was really happy to have him. Victor Mina was another one. He's another left-sided fullback. Again, really, really nice all-round player. Was happy to have him already at the club as well. Good pace, good crossing, good attacking fullback, which is how I like to play the football. With tiki-taka sort of playing out from the back. So yeah, I was very happy to have him, and keep watching to find out how he got on. Jordi Ortega was another one. I was really happy to get him actually as well. I mean, he was earmarked as a defensive midfielder from the off by me with his marking, tackling, and good pace. So he gets across that back, in between the midfield and defense quite well. So yeah, I was happy to have him definitely. Yeah, Jose Higon. So we had have a plethora of good wingers at the club actually. Despite being on high wages. So he was one of the ones that I really, really liked at the start. Good pace, good acceleration, crossing and dribbling, just perfect for a winger at this level. Decent flair, it's everything you want really. Good passing, so he can play that tiki taka as well. So Jose was fantastic fantastic to have at the start. Before you even looked at playing matches and everything. So yeah, Jose Higon, everyone. Carrie Underwood, yes, Carrie Underwood, not his real name. Carrie it was, but Carrie Underwood just rolled off the tongue for me at the start. So yeah, it's Carrie Underwood. Again, another nice winger. Pace and first touch and passing. Yeah, good technically. Can play on both sides. Fantastic. Carlos Fernandez was the one who really, really excited me at the start. A really, really, really good striker. Really happy to get him at this level. I looked at his stats. I was like, yeah, he's going to be the one that's going to put us through this league and carry us almost. He was on the most wages, but definitely worth it in my opinion at the start. And just an overall well-rounded striker. Ricky, my captain, yes. Good centre back, good option. Old, on the older side, but really good option at centre back. Here from the start and reliable, determined, good leader. Good to have someone like that on the side too. Now, me carry on. I was quite intrigued with him. He's the youngest player basically that we had almost, and a really nice looking left back, although not attacking, tackling and pace, and good positioning and marking and stuff. Defensively sound. It's just the attacking I wanted to sort of work on with him. And 22, he has got room to improve. Deco, obviously, I was happy to have a Deco. Definitely, that name is legendary, isn't it? But obviously not as good as the real Deco, or not the real Deco, but the Portuguese international Deco. I was still happy to have someone in that same mould as him. But yes, Deco, another lovely little midfielder that I was happy to have. That wraps up so basically the players I had at the start. Obviously since then we've signed a few. Results of games have been played. So watch from episode 3 to see what's happened. And the episodes are a lot better than the first two. Basically, I've learned how to talk better into the old microphone. Everything was just a bit smoother. I mean, hopefully this episode gives you a better first impression of me and of what I'm trying to do. Hopefully, but if I'm wasting my time, then that's fine. I've got time to waste. All right, that will wrap up this little weird introduction episode, but hopefully, yeah, hopefully it gives people a better first impression than what I put out at the start. I'm not going to delete those episodes. I'm going to leave those episodes on YouTube because they're my first ones, and you should always be, I guess, proud of doing something that I guess you put your mind to and you set out to do. And it's it was my first two videos ever video editing, ever talking to myself basically in playing whilst playing a game. Um, so of course it's going to be a little bit sketchy, but after doing sort of 10 episodes now, I'm already feeling way more confident. So I wanted to sort of put that confidence into another introduction episode. So hopefully you found it. That's another one of my challenges. Hopefully, if you are new, this has wrapped things up, introduced things okay. I am halfway through the season, so it is tough to not spoil anything. Hopefully, I've done that, and hopefully you continue watching. I really appreciate it, definitely. And of course, show some support if you liked it, or if you've got any feedback, and if you don't like anything that I'm doing. Obviously, I'm not really getting too much feedback because there's not as many people watching. So yeah, definitely feel free. I would love interacting with people that watch my stuff. So yeah, give this a like. Give the other videos a like, definitely. Subscribe, that really helps. And also my Twitter is in the description. Give me a follow. I post all my videos up there and some other random stuff too. So yeah, give me a follow and say hello. All right, that will wrap it. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll definitely see you soon for more.